Hey guys, my name is Ryan.
And my name is Miska.
And welcome to HitScan. The patch is here, patch 1.08, with a couple of changes and a really mean one to a certain agent, so we're going to be going over that and giving our opinions on it. Before we deep dive into the patch and everything that's in there, a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, AimLab. We've been working with them for about 3 months. They are a free-to-play aim trainer that you can get on Steam. And in those 3 months, my scores in stuff like Gridshot have improved dramatically from 60,000 to 80k, like the gameplay that you're seeing in the background. And I've been fragging harder in VALORANT than I ever have, and I'm so much more confident with my aim because of it. But we can talk about that towards the end of the video a little more. What the heck is in this patch, Miska?
Yeah, so first up, these patch notes include a little bit of, I guess, impressions/comments from our friend Max, who we talked with recently on the channel in an interview, Orkane, talking a little bit about why they made certain decisions. And the first one being to Raze in particular, and the comment reads the following before we get into the changes actually. Raze's blast pack has been dishing out damage without giving enemies much counterplay. This change should help make it very clear when blast pack's damage poses a threat while maintaining the utility aspects of the blast pack that players have begun to master. The blast pack now does not fizzle when shot and will still do damage, meaning it should still be approached carefully if in lethal range. These are the changes they've made as a result of that line of thinking, and we've got Blast Pack, initial damage reduced to 15 with a 0.2 meter inner radius, falling off to 5 minimum damage. Once the satchel lands, it arms after 0.5 seconds, increasing its max damage to 50. Shooting the Blast Pack causes it to detonate, dealing its current damage amount. And finally, Satchel no longer does damage to allies. All in all, some changes there that I kind of expected to see on Raze eventually. You know, like the Satchel no longer does damage to allies. I feel like that was just too much of a problem almost when using it, that it would just be me Raze, me go in, and then you just don't really care about your teammates anymore. But this is I like the changes. I think it's really cool to see something that's so specific come out in a way so early into the game's lifespan, right? And also Raze is not necessarily a character that everyone's been talking about recently. That's been, well, someone like Sage or characters like that. So whilst I'm sure there will be requests for changes to other characters too, I like this. I'm a fan of this for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like, when it comes to the blast pack and your teammates doing damage to you, there's very little that you can do in response, because sometimes it is just a bit gung-ho, like you mentioned. So it is a bit mean, I feel, like we mentioned that, because I feel Raze has just been on the end of a lot of nerfs, and I don't think she's like the Sage levels of power when it comes to being nerfed over and over again. So I imagine a lot of Raze players are going to be pretty upset seeing their agent in the red yet again. But in regards to other changes in here, there are some weapon upgrades. The Guardian's been buffed again. Specifically, its price has been reduced from 2,500 to 24. Its improved rate of fire from 4.75 to 5.25 rounds per second even, and the weapon recovery time is a little bit better too. There is some gameplay on screen from the career account, so you can have a look. I don't think it's that noticeable when you look at it, but I assume it's going to be one of those changes that when you actually get your hands on it, you will start to feel a bit of a difference, and this gun at least should be better economy-wise to pick up now and again, maybe instead of the Bulldog. The devs say we don't think the Guardian can or should compete with the Phantom or the Vandal, but we would like it to have a place where players can feel good about choosing the weapons at the new price. It's a competitive buy in certain economic circumstances or map scenarios, plus it's not as punitive when an enemy gets close. So I don't know if this is specifically enough to see the Guardian in play, but it seems that Riot really like to string a lot of changes together to make something better or worse from the sounds of it.
Yeah, I have to say I'm a little bit concerned seeing these changes to Guardian sort of this late, because it does feel like the gun has already been near worthless for most levels of play since launch, and now we're getting these types of changes. I feel like it's still a weapon that really struggles kind of with feeling like the identity of the gun also aligns with something that the players want, or not even that the players want, but that you would want as a tactical shooter player, something that fires that late, that slow, I guess. If I think about that in other games, it's a lot of guns that have super high wall penetration or are maybe good for something else that other guns can't really do, but you know, the Guardian just doesn't really manage to have like a unique and useful spot there. But I like the price change and everything. I'm gonna still be picking up the Bulldog whenever I'm in the sort of 2400 amount of range. I think it's just a better gun still. And yeah, we'll see what this does. But obviously the Guardian's struggling, and there's plenty of skins to go around for this weapon. So maybe that's why the devs kind of want to see it a little bit more in use too. But hey, we'll see. Maybe this is what the gun needs.
What's also quite surprising is with this patch, we had a couple of comments from Max Arcane. We had an interview with him before. He's the lead agent designer, and he does admit that this patch is relatively light set in comparison to the last one, but he does mention about a big talking point and gives us a lot more indication on their plans with the operator. This patch is quite a bit lighter than the last, but we want to take some time to better understand the impact of our changes, which is, fair enough with the amount of changes in there, right? We have already seen some shifts in the meta. Whilst these changes settle, we've turned our eye onto a more pressing issue, the operator. We know that this weapon can feel very oppressive to play against, often leaving players feeling like there's no hope when attacking. We agree that the operator is likely having an outsized impact on match outcomes and are testing a suite of changes to address the issue. For how important the operator is to the game, we want to make sure we are making the right call. So we're giving these changes a little bit more time to soak internally to make sure we get them just right. So it sounds like they've got stuff lined up, Miska, but they're just waiting on
sounds like they're
waiting on the OK button, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I like the sound of that for sure. I think now it's moved a little bit from like, are they testing something? Are they working on something? Or we will be working on something to, we have something, we just really want to tweak it a bit further and make sure we get it just right. So good stuff. And I think in terms of, the weapon like operator being a problem for the community, this has been a discussion point since the start, right? Like, ever since beta in a way, but it's only the past, like, I would say 1 or 2 months where the operator discussion's gone to sort of, the top of Reddit over and over and over again. And obviously there's a lot of things you could be tweaking there.
That's true.
I'm not going to go into or speculating about the exact changes again, because I feel like we've done that so much, but I'm really happy to see this, and I do hope that in 2 weeks from now we will be seeing those changes in the patch notes, because I want to be trying them out too, not just the Valorant devs internally having fun in their test sessions and in QA. So yeah, definitely want to try that stuff, and looking forward to seeing what Max and the team have got in store there for sure.
Final changes to sort of close out the video. We spoke about it yesterday. Map rotation changes are coming in, but I did want to talk about the specifics of them because we didn't know exactly how they were going to work. Matchmaking queue for all modes has been updated to measure all your recently played maps throughout all modes, so that for any given queue you have a better chance of playing on a map you haven't played recently, and are much less likely to play on the same map several games in a row. So that's how it's going to work. It should be good. Also, a funny change more to mention, I suppose. Observers will now see a timer rather than their screen being obscured when observing a player who is blinded. Full screen blind for observers can be turned back on in the options for all you masochists. I don't know if you saw it, but there was a clip from like the esports scene that I retweeted on Twitter where he got flashed 6 times in a row. I'm going to play it on screen. This came from Zipan, and I think I got a headache from watching some of the tournaments this weekend with the amount of flashes. It was insane when you have like...
Yeah, I think I know it. I think I know.
Like, yeah, you've got all sorts of stuff. I think Team Liquid were running 3 or 4 agents that had flashes. It was nuts. So I'm glad that at least watching esports isn't going to be... I don't need to get my sunglasses out, basically.
Yeah, for sure, more quality of life stuff always being thrown in there. I feel like there's actually something relevant quality of life wise every patch, and it feels quite nice. It feels like Valorant's a good game in that aspect. A lot of those changes that people are asking for just coming in more and more over time. Another thing, bug fixes. The Prime Classic VFX has finally been fixed. I've seen some comments around that on YouTube and on Reddit. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it, but there was a bug in which upgraded Prime levels 2 to 4 were not playing the correct tracers, sound fix, and other VFX stuff. There was just like some things that were a bit broken there. I think I had varying experiences with that too. It wasn't just permanent, but either way, anything with the Prime Classic VFX stuff has now been fixed. You got your pew pew gun back in the game. And other than that, just looking forward to the next patch, to be honest, and hopefully getting a little bit more insight into what the devs are doing with the operator, maybe even before those changes drop. That would be interesting. We don't have the Morella streams anymore, so we don't tend to get that sort of insight before the patch at all, but hey, I'd love to get some more of that this time around. We'll see. Keep an eye out on Reddit, Twitter, and of course on this channel, because we do tend to report on that sort of stuff pretty much as soon as it hits.
As we go towards the end of this video, I did want to shout out again AimLab to remind you guys to check them out. It's a free-to-play game on Steam, so you don't risk anything really for giving it a quick download and a quick try. And it's really good at improving your aim and just making you a better player. If you want another example of that, they started recently working with Rambo, who is an ex-Counter-Strike player that makes some of the best educational content on how to improve mechanics and mindset in games like Counter-Strike and Valorant. Specifically, I wanted to shout out the playlists that Rambo has made to practice things like flicking, tracking, and even micro movement. So if there's one area that you want to practice in particular, definitely check out the playlists. They're in the description below so you can get to the workshop and download it that way. But definitely do give both AimLab and Rambo a little look. That's everything that we wanted to go over today. Thank you very much for watching. Let us know what you think of these changes and what you'd like to see. We're sort of still a while away. I say a while, like a month away from the new act and the new agent and stuff, but I think that we're going to be seeing quite a lot beforehand and a lot of teasers for the future too with any luck. So thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.